The capital market probe and its attendant situations. Well, Chinyere Igwe is still in Abuja. He's the former Deputy Chairman, House Committee on Human Rights. Well, thank you for standing in there. Well, yes, we did ask you previously concerning your impression about what is going on now.
The issue of Honorable Herman Hembe presiding over the probe has been put to rest, being that he has formally resigned as chairman of that committee for the purposes of that probe. The Ethics and Privilege Committee of the House is handling it, which is the process. And he went further to avail himself to the anti-graft agencies. Let's come back to the substantive issue. What is the issue? The near collapse of the capital market. What are the causes? The micro and macro causes. Let's look at them. And there and then, we can now know what is happening in the capital market. Continue discussing about the request, memo and non-memo will not lead us anywhere, because investors are suffering. People spend money in investing in the capital market without any return. My dear brothers, let us avail those people opportunity so that they can know what happened to their fund or what is going to happen to their fund in future.
Well, yes, indeed, we get the point. But if the former chairman hadn't raised all of those, the shareholders would have known what was going on at the moment. Well, so that's why that matter pops up in the first instance. And by the way, he's also said he's approaching the court, so the matter continues, albeit. But that notwithstanding, concerning ever since that change has happened now, because there's this question, because you heard the previous guy say, it changed the entire House of Representatives. I mean, will they be able to stand up and continue this and get to the bottom of it, as they say, because they've got an image to protect?
No, that is being very preemptive. We know in the last House, when the issue of the power probe happened, the House in its entirety did not accept what the power committee did. So you cannot tell me that the leadership of Tambuwal and members of the House will hook, line and sinker support what the former probe did if they did anything wrong. Let's look at the substantive issue. Honorable Hembe going to court, for me, is not the best, because he must avail himself to the system of the House, which is Ethics and Privilege Committee. It is upon the clarification by the Ethics and Privilege Committee he can decide to go court. The immunity of the parliamentary immunity does not cover SEC DG. It is only membership of the House. So he can go to court tomorrow, next tomorrow, but let him allow the House do its work by a way of Ethics Committee.
Well, anyway, you were there during that particular sitting. We would like you to clarify for us what exactly you felt they did wrong. We were talking about Honorable Hembe and his committee that warranted the disbandment of this particular group.
Well, this issue is all about perception. For me, I have been trying to look at the whole scenario to determine where Honorable Hembe went wrong. I have not seen, because he has a mandate of the House through a resolution to determine the manifest cause and causes of the near collapse of the capital market. In doing this, you must look at the micro and macro causes. And what are the micro causes? The internal issues of regulation, economy, and what have you. If you are talking about regulatory failure, you must look at corporate governance, the attitude, the style, the activities, the capacity, and abuse of law. So, looking at SEC as an institution is within the confines of the law. If SEC has done something wrong, if the SEC DG has not been obeying the law, a situation where you abuse trade law, certain political and public and judicial officers, salaries and allowance, you abuse it, you abuse financial guidelines, you abuse, which other one again? The monetization policy in the issue of 28 days accommodation. Let me tell you very specifically that what the law permits on the issue of hotel accommodation is 28 days, and it gives you the leverage to either accept the money or the organization pays the hotel bill for you. 28 days. Even when SEC went ahead and put in another 28 days, it is against the law. They are all culpable. From the executive commissioners to the directors, they are all disobeying the laws of the land. On the issue of accommodation, the law is very clear. You cannot, for any reason, take accommodation. You must take the money, except the president, the vice president, the speaker, and the senate president. So when you say that you gave her option, you have disobeyed the law. What does the financial guideline says? These are the laws of the land for which you have disobeyed. So you must look at those issues. If they have contributed to the regulatory failure. Now let me bring one point here now. Herman Hembe is not a member of SEC. He does not work in SEC. You know, when in Nigeria, when somebody assumes a new office, there is the preponderance that people will see the person as the Messiah. Hema, I believe, was flooded with petitions from SEC. Hema is not a ghost to know the happenings of SEC. For him to have raised the issue he raised, these were prompted by SEC people, the operators in the market, the system. The capital market is a system, and we have cabal in that system, just like we have been made to understand. Otherwise, the way this issue is being dragged on, it wouldn't. People are trying to shift their attention from the main issue. The main issue is the collapse of the capital market.
Honorable Igwe,
you have been asked to come and
Honorable Igwe, so I'm sorry I have to cut you here, but staying with the issue of perception, with this stance that you've taken, that, you know, she's done, or Honorable Embe has done absolutely nothing wrong, and he was still staying with the mandate, a host of people will doubt the capability of the House of Reps to actually continue with this particular probe, despite the fact that Honorable Embe and his committee have stepped down. Do you agree with that?
Well, you know, I have this opinion that in Nigeria, if we are not ready for democracy, we should forget it. Because the legislature is the symbol of democracy. Without the legislature, there is no democracy. And let me also tell you that democracy does not guarantee the best form of government. It is just a government by the majority. In the military dictatorship, the executive is there, the judiciary is there. But in democracy, it is only the legislature. So at every point in time, when we believe that the legislature is not doing anything, that means we are saying that we are not ready for democracy. Otherwise, you must give him. The last speaker has said that presumption of innocency. This is mere accusation, which can still be proved, investigated and proved. Honorable Member submitted himself to EFCC and ICPC. He went further to submit himself to the Ethics and Privilege Committee of the House. What are we talking about? The House accepted. The House did not say no, go on. The House accepted his recommendation that he wants to step aside. Let us forget about this issue.
But from the look of things, people already believe that he's already been given a soft landing. From the look of things, people believe he's already been given a soft landing, and as such, you know, they doubt that the House will be fair this time around.
So there's nothing like soft landing. Okay, now let me ask a question. Honorable Hembe has told the world that he has documents to show that the issue of assisting the House, which we believe was assisting the committee, which we believe was the main thing, until Ms. Ote changed it to bribery the mind. Isn't it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Am I with you?
Go ahead.
That is the main issue. Now, the question now is, Honorable Hembe have brought that document to substantiate that he didn't make any request. Not only at that, even based on his innocency, I'm stepping aside for this probe. The House has accepted that. Why not to forget about the issue of bribe? Let the necessary agencies handle it and face the issue. Give the House the benefit of that they will do the right thing. Okay. Everything is public hearing. Channels crew are there every day. Let them do the probe, determine the issue. We have about 5 issues from what I had. The issue of monetization, breaking government rules of monetization, breaking financial regulation, the issue of a brandishing document that a tenders committee held when they didn't hold. We had it, we saw it. The executive commissioner, the directors, they said documents was being lifted from one office to the other to sign that the tenders committee meeting hold. That is in clear breach of the Public Procurement Act. The issue of illegal employment against the public service rule. The issue of nationalized bank. What are we talking about? There are more sensitive issues.
All right, but
trillions of naira of the Nigerian people's money.
Does it bother you?
38 million or 39 million that we say was only requested.
No. Okay, let's get this in. Sorry to butt in there. Does it bother you while the issues go on? I mean, they'll go ahead and determine the fundamental issues, as you say. But does it bother you that matters of graft at some point in time always pops up in many of these public hearings with the National Assembly?
Yeah, it goes back to my earlier remarks that if we are tired of democracy, let us say it. Because at every point in time, they will accuse the National Assembly of one graft or the other. Well, in actual sense, these things are pumped up from the other end of it. And this particular case in hand, money has not been given, money has not been received. If it is a graft from an can be requested, let's assume he requested. Why will SEC go about issuing memo? Why will SEC council go about approving it? If it is a graft, my dear brother, can't you look at it?
All right, but when is the next? When are they going to start or resume sitting to determine some of these matters which you talked about? meeting to determine some of these matters which we talked about?
Which of them? You mean the pro panel or the
ad hoc committee
or the ethics committee? The ethics committee, that is from the resolution we had, they were given 14 days by Mr. Speaker, and 14 days started running immediately. For the investigative panel, they were given 21 days. They are different. Mr. Speaker, in his wisdom, told us that the chairman of the Ethics and Privilege Committee is a member of Hembe's-led Capital Market Committee. His deputy has been incidentally made a member of the new committee. On that basis, they are removed from the committee of the ethics. The minority leader, whom you know is not a member of a majority party, which honorable man belongs to, is heading the ethics committee. So there are two different organs now, doing two different work. They don't have a meeting point. The only meeting point I believe they will have is when Honorable Hema Hembe will come before the ethics committee to make his point. Incidentally, he might meet with Mr. Otedia. I'm sure Honorable Hema Hembe will not even want to go to the pro panel again, so that he will not be seen, to be influencing the committee. So, I'm sure that the two committees are doing their groundwork now with a view to commencing work.
Okay, comments on this before you leave. At the end of this probe, what becomes of the recommendation of the House of Representatives?
What becomes? It tests the integrity of the current administration fight against corruption. First, by the time the committee concludes its work, it will table his or her recommendation before the House. If the House accepts, it now behoves on Mr. President to accept. But let me say something quickly before I will leave. Hema Hembe has resigned as chairman of the probe panel probing the capital market. I also think that from where the DG SEC is coming from the advanced democracy, from the multinational agencies, I expect her to resign so that she cannot influence the amount of information, the amount of evidence that will come out from SEC. Just like the memo. Hema did not manufacture that memo. That memo came out from SEC. It means that there is so much bad blood, frustration, and high-handedness in SEC.
Okay, so if she resigns,
the former IMF president resigned for what? Immoral activities. And now you have issue bordering on high-scale corruption, high-level corruption. Some people to reap Nigeria.
Well, at a time on this one, could you respond to this? If she resigns, in what capacity?
Until after the resolution of the matter.
In what capacity will she appear before the committee, if at all she will, assuming she resigns?
Well, we have seen people who appear before panels as either former member or suspended member. She can do that. At the end of the pro panel, if she's indicated as not having done anything wrong, she will come back. But let her take a leave of absence. The panel now is sitting for 21 days. 1 month leave of absence. That will guarantee that equity, justice, and fair play is done.
Well, the very last one here, this some say is an indication that there is some form of vendetta against the SEC DG by you, who is also a former member of the House, asking that she resigns.
No, there is no vendetta. Let me tell you, I'm from Rivers State, I'm from Port Harcourt. My name speaks. Ms. Aroma Ete from Abia State can be likened to be my sister. Who can claim. But we are talking about fair play and equity. We are talking about rule of law. We are talking about transparency. We are talking about anti-corruption activities. From what Ms. Aroma Ete did, she broke the laws of this land. QED. That is it.